Bring Her Back is the newest film from Danny and Michael Philippou, who directed Talk to Me. I saw it early at a mystery screening. We knew it was going to be a horror movie. I hope nobody went into this mystery showing thinking it would be a fun horror movie, because this is not fun. This was disturbing and sad and very effective. I didn't love Talk to Me. I thought it was kind of overhyped. So many of the early reactions were talking about how scary it was, and then I watched it and I was like, where's the scary part? But I still thought it was good. I thought it had some unique ideas, and these guys clearly showed some talent with their directorial debut, so I was looking forward to them doing more horror. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't watch a trailer. I could basically get the gist just from the title alone, though. So you have these two kids. One is a 17-year-old boy and a younger girl who has a visual impairment. She's not blind, but she can only really see shapes and colors. Their dad passes away. They go to live with a foster mother, who is Sally Hawkins, whose daughter had passed away, her daughter who was also visually impaired. And some weird, freaky shit is going on at Sally Hawkins' house. And so just based on that, and based on the title, Bring Her Back, you get it. You basically know what's going down. It was so funny because the Philippou brothers had a message introducing the film. They're like, yeah, this is our new movie. We really hope you enjoy it. And they were all like happy and cheerful, and they had this great rapport with each other. And then you watch it and it's like, what the fuck? Those guys made this? I guess the most fucked up people are the ones you can't tell are fucked up. They're the ones that keep it deep down inside. Because wow, this movie is effective at just making you feel kind of shitty. I saw one review on Letterboxd. It was a half star, and essentially they were like, yeah, the technical elements are good, the cinematography, the acting, it's all good, but it made me feel so sad. I'm like, that sounds like a positive review to me. That's what it was supposed to do. As we saw in Talk to Me, they're really good at these sudden moments of brutality. Like when the kid slams his head against the table, you really feel it. You feel the impact and the pain. They're really good at that here too. Even if it's just someone getting hit, you really feel it. And it goes far beyond that. When you get the scenes of gore, they're so visceral. They feel real. Like the effects, the prosthetics are great. It all looks awesome. So you have these sudden moments of just violence that really hit. Some of the makeup and everything, it just looks so good. And the movie as a whole looks great. I love the way it's shot. It's crazy that they have such technical proficiency making these horror movies in just their first two films. It's very cool. And even though I've had some issues with both films, I'm totally on board to seeing them do way more. There's definitely some creepy moments, some creepy imagery. I wouldn't call this scary either. It's always hard for me to address that if somebody asks if a movie is scary. It depends on what you mean. Like, do you get scared by jump scares? Do you get scared by gore? Do you want to be like shaking in your bed at night having nightmares? Because that's what I think of if you ask me if a movie is scary. Like, does it stick with you? Am I now scared after leaving the theater? And that's just not something that ever really happens. But it's very effective at communicating its ideas of grief and sadness, and that's what so many horror movies are about nowadays, and yet I still do really like it when it's done well, because this movie is just drenched in this somber atmosphere. The acting is fantastic. Billy Barrett as the boy and Sora Wong as the younger girl who is actually visually impaired. They were great. I loved their dynamic. I really liked their characters. They were very enjoyable to watch and well-rounded. And then Sally Hawkins is the antagonist. And she can play these really sweet, wholesome roles, like in Paddington. And even in this, she has her moments where it seems like she's being very genuine and she's bonding with the kids. And there are times where you're like, you know what? If I didn't know that you were doing crazy shit in the other room, then I would really like this situation. I would think this is a very nice foster family. But then she has those other moments where she just comes across as so weird, and sometimes it's excusable as like, okay, just a little bit of awkwardness. She's just maybe a little too forward, a little too friendly, and then sometimes it's pushing it way past that. But it's a good balance. She still has that warmth to her performance to where she never feels like an over-the-top, ridiculous movie villain. She feels like a human who is just kind of crazy. And it's so conflicting because the things she does are absolutely terrible and there's no forgiving her. And I detested her. And I wanted these kids to escape and be safe because I cared about them. I wanted her to get taken down in whatever way that could happen. but her motivations are very human. There's no excusing it at all. But it feels like she's kind of a victim in a way of just the concept of grief. That no matter how the situation ends, it's just sad that it happened at all. That it could have been pushed to this point where any of this happened, even if it ends properly and happily. So I never quite felt bad for her because the things she's doing are so heinous, and yet I still understood the origin of her pain and what led her to this. But I'm like, wow, the fact that you actually did it, no, you got to go. So she was a very compelling, interesting villain with a great performance. And it gets dark. The things that she's doing, the things that are happening, especially to these young kids, are messed up. A lot of people are going to be uncomfortable. It's probably going to be more divisive than Talk to Me because it's kind of weirder. It is grosser in many ways. It's darker. And so some people aren't going to want that. I want that. My biggest issue is that a lot of it is just kind of familiar. I felt the same way about Talk to Me. They were good at taking familiar concepts like the demon possession and just a lot of the typical trickery that you see with stuff like that, and spinning it in kind of a unique way with The Hand, how it was like this party game, this party drug. They put a unique twist on it, and it's kind of the same way here. I feel like their influences are very clear. I felt a lot of Hereditary vibes and things like that from this for a lot of the movie. I felt like I've seen a lot of this before. It's dressed up really nice. It looks beautiful. The music is good. The acting is great. I really like their direction. There's a lot of technical proficiency, and there's a lot of brutality, and there's some unique details here and there about exactly how Sally Hawkins is going about this process that she's trying to execute. But as a whole, it's like I have seen things like this before, and so it was feeling fairly familiar for most of the runtime. And just based on the title alone, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. I know what this is all about. I didn't feel like there was actually mystery. But I will say that the ending really brought it together for me. I've heard the opposite. I've heard some people say the ending kind of ruined it for them. For me, the ending is what made the movie. It's very tense because they do a really good job at making the situation seem hopeless, because the older boy has had trouble in his past. You know it's going to be difficult for him to be believed if he starts talking about how nice, sweet little Sally Hawkins is up to some shady shit. And then the young girl is visually impaired. When she's off by herself in a high-stress situation, she can't even navigate around properly. You can't show her the things you need to show her. She can't see everything she needs to see to avoid danger. So there's a lot of tension there. And right up until the very end of the movie, I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew the general plot the entire time, but when we got down to the climax and the shit really hitting the fan, I deeply cared about these characters. They were likable, and yet they were also flawed in certain ways that just made them feel real. And I wanted them to be okay. And right up until like the last couple minutes of the movie, I wasn't sure if they would be, because so much of this was so dark. I was like, how sad are they going to go with the ending? I could see them doing the saddest possible thing. I don't know. So there was a lot of tension there. I wasn't sure how it was going to wrap up the entire time. And there were certain things where I was hoping, like against my rationality, like knowing in certain situations, there is literally no other character in the movie who can come help right now. There just isn't. And yet I'm hoping somehow for something good to happen, because I'm on the edge of my seat, feeling for these characters and wanting them to be okay, and it feels so hopeless. Even when things happen that start to seem like they're really bad, I'm like, okay, it seems like shit's fucked, but it's a movie. You never know. Movie logic can kick in. Things can happen that we didn't expect and might not even really make sense, and I would be okay with that just because I would be emotionally fulfilled. And you don't really get everything you want emotionally. There are some things that happen that are just sad. Things that I didn't want to happen. And yet, by the end, I thought they were the right choice for the story. I thought it was so much more effective the way that they actually did it. And I don't want to say too much at all. Trust me, I'm not spoiling things here. I'm not telling you that everybody dies or anything like that. Just the general idea of how the movie wrapped up. It just maintains the somber tone that it had the entire time. And I thought it was very fitting. The visuals, some of the unexpected callbacks to some things earlier in the movie, some of the choices that the characters make and the fates that they have, I just thought wrapped it all up beautifully and made me like the movie more. So I liked it as I was watching it. I liked it even more with the ending. And then, weirdly enough, in the car ride home when I was thinking about it, I actually shed a tear. It was weird. Like, I didn't during the movie, but 10 minutes later when I was thinking about it, I did. So it's definitely going to stick with me. It has already stuck with me. It's already gotten better as I've thought about it more over the last day. There are some things I'm unclear on. I don't know if I just need a second viewing to get some of the answers or if it was just left ambiguous. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't consider that a negative at all. Like, everything you need to know is spelled out pretty plainly, and those little details kind of just make me curious to rewatch it and see if I notice anything else. I'll talk about some spoilers after the rating, because I want to. But I was thinking 3.5 for a lot of the movie, just because so much of it did feel familiar, but it was very well executed. But the ending bumped it up to a 4 for me. If you like Talk to Me, absolutely see this, even if you didn't. If you want to feel bad, if you want to see some dark, well-made, visceral horror, definitely check it out when it comes out later in May. So thank you for watching. I am going to go into spoilers. You do not want to listen to this part if you haven't seen the movie, so get the hell out of here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the ending. One of the questions that I have, and maybe I just missed it, you can tell me if you want, is Sally Hawkins' nephew? Because her nephew's name was Oliver, which is what she was calling Connor, the boy that she had kidnapped. And she was talking about him as if he was Oliver. Like, she talked about his curly red hair, which the actual Oliver had, and Connor did not. So, did Oliver also die in, like, an unrelated incident? Did she kill him? Was she just calling Connor Oliver because she had to come up with a new name and that was one she was familiar with? I don't think so, because the way she talked about him with the red hair was as if he was Oliver. I think I missed some of the details in how the possession works. Like, was Oliver put into him, or was it just like a demon put into him? I'm not quite sure exactly what the deal is with the nephew. When we finally see the scene of Kathy drowning, it shows that she's bleeding from her head. I was wondering, like, was there some kind of accident involving another person? Maybe Oliver himself? I don't know. But I don't think so. I think it's more straightforward. I think she probably just slipped, hit her head, and then went in the pool. But that's the one thing I'm a little lost on, is what exactly the deal was with the nephew. The other thing is the driver's side mirror of the car. What the hell was up with that? We see it so many times. Like, he's tightening it back on, and then later we see it again, it's dangling loose. Then later it breaks off, and then later we see that shot where Andy dies reflected in the mirror. And I was like, was that all just for that? Was all this buildup with the mirror just so we could have a cool shot later? Was there something, like, thematically going on with the mirror? I just feel like I'm missing a little something of what the hell was up with the mirror and why there was so much focus on it. I was like, is there some kind of message here about reflections, or like people's souls getting trapped in a mirror when they die mythology? Like, what's the deal with the focus on the mirror, huh? What do you think? But as for the ending, man, I knew the social worker lady was gonna die, because that's what happens in horror movies. The person that they get to help and comes over by themselves and goes in the house, obviously they die. But I'm glad it didn't play out like I thought it would. You usually expect them to die in the house, like they get hit on the head from behind or something, but she got really far, to the point where it actually seemed like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe she's gonna be okay. They're escaping right now. And then the moment the car comes, fuck. People around me, like, I reacted, people around me, I could tell they reacted. They were like, because not only did she get obliterated, so did Andy. And I was like, no. Like, I was so sad. Please don't do that. No. But then he's still alive. So there's hope. But then she starts drowning him. And this is the part where I'm like, there are literally no characters who can help. Like, Piper is not there. Oliver, Connor, that's not happening. He's in a little bit of a fucked up state right now. He's not going to be able to help. So there's no one who can help, and yet I'm hoping against all hope that somehow he survives. And then it doesn't seem like he does. And then even later when Piper finds his body, I'm still hoping. I'm like, he got destroyed by the car. Even if he was alive, there's no way he'd be able to get up and go help and do everything that he needs to do. And then there was the drowning on top of that. He can't just resuscitate himself magically. So I know he's dead, and yet I'm just wishing for some movie logic where characters could just survive things that they shouldn't survive. I'm like, please, I'd be happy with that. And then it never comes, like right up until the very end. I'm still hoping for it. And I'm unsure what's going to happen with Piper. She's getting drowned, and I'm like, please don't. Please don't have this be the saddest ending possible. I really wasn't sure. But I thought the way they did it was great. Instead of having Andy magically survive and heroically save the day, I thought it was so much more powerful to have Sally Hawkins just not be able to do it. Again, she's not redeemable in any way. She's absolutely despicable. But she still feels human. And so the fact that she just couldn't bring herself to do it, Piper yelled out "Mom," and it just triggered that for her. It was like Batman v Superman when you really think about it. That was her Martha moment. It was like Batman v Superman if it was good. So she realizes the monster that she's become. Connor gets away. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought that boy was too far gone. I thought the only thing that could be good for him at this point is a merciful death. But no, he actually got to survive. His face is fucked up, but he's going to be okay. Poor kid. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know if he fully knew what was going on, because there was that time where he woke up and he was like, "Who are you?" So maybe he wasn't really conscious for all of it. He didn't experience the trauma, which I can hope. And then Piper gets to safety. And the moment that really did it, of course, her listening to Andy's message on the phone, but also seeing the plane fly overhead, which at first I was like, okay, plane, whatever. Then I remembered, oh yeah, there was that dialogue earlier in the movie after their dad died where he was talking about what if when somebody dies, it's just like a plane flying away. So that plane was Andy and Piper looking up at it. And so that was a really nice moment. It's very sad, but I think it was appropriate for this story and these themes to go there. And it's going to stick with me more. It was so much more impactful for me because they went there and they weren't afraid to make it dark. But I think that about covers it for now on my thoughts on Bring Her Back. Leave yours in the comments. If you want to talk spoilers, just leave a spoiler warning and we can do that. I'd love to talk about this one because it was definitely impactful and I do want to see it again for sure. So let me know how you were affected by it. Did you think it was too dark? Did you really get into it? Anything you want, agree, disagree, let's talk about it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.